Tjorn. They did so, and drave the horses down into the deeps of the river, and all swam back to land but one horse, and that horse Sigurd chose for himself. Grey he was of hue, and young of years, great of growth, and fair to look on, nor had any man yet crossed his back. Then spake the greybeard, "From Sleipnir's kin is this horse come, and he must be nourished heedfully, for it will be the best of all horses." And therewithal he vanished away. So Sigurd called the horse Grani, the best of all the horses of the world, nor was the man he met other than Odin himself. Now yet again spake Regin to Sigurd, and said, "Not enough is thy wealth, and I grieve right sore that thou must needs run here and there like a churl's son. But I can tell thee where there is much wealth for the winning, and great name and honour to be won in getting of it." Sigurd asked where that might be, and who had watch and ward over it. Regin answered, "Fafnir is his name, and but a little way hence he lies, on the waste of Gnita Heath. And when thou comest there, thou mayest well say that thou hast never seen more gold heaped together in one place, and that none might desire more treasure, though he were the most ancient and famed of all kings." "Young am I," says Sigurd, "yet I know the fashion of this worm, and how that none durst go against him, so huge and evil is he." Regin said, "Nay, it is not so. The fashion and the growth of him is even as other ling-worms, and an over-great tale men make of it, and even so would thy forefathers have deemed. But thou, though thou be of the kin of the Volsungs, shalt scarce have the heart and mind of those, who are told of as the first in all deeds of fame." Sigurd said, "Yea, belike I have little of their hardihood and prowess. But thou hast naught to do to lay a coward's name upon me when I am scarce out of my childish years. Why dost thou egg me on hereto so busily?" Regin said, "Therein lies a tale which I must needs tell thee." "Let me hear the same," said Sigurd. Chapter 14. "Thus the tale begins," said Regin. "Hreidmar was my father's name, a mighty man and a wealthy. And his first son was named Fafnir, his second Otter, and I was the third and the least of them all, both for prowess and good conditions. But I was cunning to work in iron and silver and gold, whereof I could make matters that availed somewhat. Other skill my brother Otter followed, and had another nature withal. For he was a great fisher, and above other men herein, in that he had the likeness of an otter by day, and dwelt ever in the river, and bare fish to bank in his mouth. And his prey would he ever bring to our father, and that availed him much. For the most part he kept him in his otter gear, and then he would come home and eat alone and slumbering, for on the dry land he might see naught. But Fafnir was by far the greatest and grimmest, and would have all things about called his. Now," says Regin, "there was a dwarf, called Andvari, who ever abode in that force which was called Andvari's force, in the likeness of a pike, and got meat for himself, for many fish there were in the force. Now Otter, my brother, was ever wont to enter into the force and bring fish aland, and lay them one by one on the bank. And so it befell that Odin, Loki, and Hœnir, as they went their ways, came to Andvari's force. And Otter had taken a salmon, and ate it slumbering upon the river bank. Then Loki took a stone and cast it at Otter, so that he gat his death thereby. The gods were well content with their prey, and fell to flaying off the otter's skin, and in the evening they came to Hreidmar's house, and showed him what they had taken. Thereon he laid hands on them, and doomed them to such ransom as that they should fill the otter skin with gold, and cover it over without with red gold. So they sent Loki to gather gold together for them. He came to Ran, and got her net, and went therewith to Andvari's force, and cast the net before the pike, and the pike ran into the net, and was taken. Then said Loki, "Hvað that fiska rinner flóði í? Kannat við viti varask?" What fish of all fishes swims strong in the flood, but hath learnt little wit to beware? Thy head must thou buy from abiding in hell, and find me the wan water's flame. He answered, Andvari folk call me, call Oin my father. Over many a force have I fared. For a norn of ill luck this life on me lay, through wet ways ever to wade. So Loki beheld the gold of Andvari. And when he had given up the gold, he had but one ring left, and that also Loki took from him. Then the dwarf went into a hollow of the rocks, and cried out that gold ring, yea, and all the gold withal, should be the bane of every man who should own it thereafter. Now the gods rode with the treasure to Hreidmar, and fulfilled the otter skin, and set it on its feet, and they must cover it over utterly with gold. But when this was done, then Hreidmar came forth, and beheld yet one of the muzzle hairs, and bade them cover that withal. Then Odin drew the ring, Andvari's loom, from his hand, and covered up the hair therewith. Then sang Loki, Golden now, a great were-gild thou hast, that my head in good hap I may hold. But thou and thy son are not fated to thrive, the bane shall it be of you both. Thereafter, says Regin, Fafnir slew his father, and murdered him, nor got I aught of the treasure. And so evil he grew, that he fell to lying abroad, and begrudged any share in the wealth to any man, and so became the worst of all worms, and ever now lies brooding upon that treasure. But for me, I went to the king and became his master smith, and thus is the tale told, of how I lost the heritage of my father, and the were-gild for my brother. So spake Regin. But since that time gold is called Ottergild, and for no other cause than this. But Sigurd answered, Much hast thou lost, and exceeding evil have thy kinsmen been. But now, make a sword by thy craft, such a sword as that none can be made like unto it, so that I may do great deeds therewith, if my heart avail thereto, and thou wouldst have me slay this mighty dragon. Regin says, Trust me well herein, and with that same sword shalt thou slay Fafnir. Chapter 15. So Regin makes a sword and gives it into Sigurd's hands. He took the sword and said, Behold thy smithying, Regin, and therewith smote it into the anvil, and the sword brake. So he cast down the brand, and bade him forge a better. Then Regin forged another sword, and brought it to Sigurd, who looked thereon. Then said Regin, Belike thou art well content therewith, hard master though thou be in smithying. So Sigurd proved the sword, and brake it, even as the first. Then he said to Regin, Ah, art thou mayhappen a traitor and a liar like to those former kin of thine? Therewith he went to his mother, and she welcomed him in seemly wise, and they talked and drank together. Then spake Sigurd, Have I heard aright that King Sigmund gave thee the good sword Gram in 2 pieces? True enough, she said. So Sigurd said, Deliver them into my hands, for I would have them. She said he looked like to win great fame, and gave him the sword. Therewith went Sigurd to Regin, and bade him make a good sword thereof, as he best might. Regin grew wroth thereat, but went into the smithy with the pieces